weeks, for months, through the process of getting back, through the process of getting back into the swing of things, right? But then it's like at some point, like I started like it. I guess it just started like I was starting to make this other idea of it. You know what I mean? Because there was just it's like it. Everyone was just talking about the mess. We shouldn't have. We should have did this. We didn't do this. That was a mess. That was a mess. That was a mess. And then like no one wanted to talk about it. You know what I mean? No one wanted to say a word about it. And I wasn't done talking about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't. And so I just kind of went with my thing, man. And I had unclosed books, you know, I had unclosed books. But at the moment, you just kind of don't realize it. And I just went right back to being me, I just jumped right back to being me. And I didn't realize how much of an impact everything that I had witnessed, the situation that I was in, and my feelings of the people that we had interacted with and what I had seen in that situation uh, until about a year later when I had noticed that I couldn't stop thinking about this fucking kid. I couldn't stop thinking of this fucking kid. He just lived with me everywhere I went. And I think at that moment, and I kept playing it back in my head, and it's almost like it's a, and like, I'm a happy guy, man. I'm a happy guy. And I didn't take this idea lightly. I just kind of sat there and said, man, these fucking memories, man, like it was just crazy. It was insane. It was insane. It was insane. It was crazy. But then like, in the powers that be, I was okay and I was kind of just dealing with it, not really knowing what it was. But then I noticed a problem because the people that I had went there with, they were PCSing. They were ETSing. That unit doesn't stay that unit forever.
Oh.
And it's almost like you lose a fucking security blanket.
Yep.
And then your chest gets tight. And then you're just kind of sitting there like, oh man, like I kind of basked in the comfort of everyone else kind of dealing with the same thing.
Knowing what you're coming from.
Knowing where I'm coming from. So like I don't have to express myself because these people they witnessed and experienced the same thing. Regardless of whether they experienced it differently, they were still there. They were there with me. They saw it all. They were there and witnessed it all. And and slowly as this kid, I was getting into 22 and part of 23, and I slowly started to realize that I was frantically working harder to maintain this shell of a presence than actually just being me. It was my energy, and this is kind of how I explained it to Amber, my therapist, right? And God bless her. We started talking about it, and I was talking about the situation, and how this kid just kind of lived with me, and I, it was like this, connection, you know what I mean? And I don't know why, but as I was kind of like dealing with it in my own way, I had these other priorities, right? Like, hey, I need to still be me. I need to still be me because I love what I do. I love my job and I love the people that I do it with. Like anybody knows, I'm an Army guy. You know what I mean? I'm an Army guy. I'm an 82nd guy. 30 years was my plan. 30 years, I was going to target for the army, you know, like that's what I wanted to do. And, you know, I just like, as it kind of, the time passed, man, and, your comforts start to exit. Those people were my comfort, and then, from my battalion commander or my brigade commander down, these people start to go, and, I could feel that this guy that I used to be was becoming two parts. It was the outer shell, which now became this kind of like act of presence. And it was almost at some point, it's like I was working so hard that I was forcing this radical upbeat, high energetic guy. But then I had this second person, right? That's now a part of me, that's constantly dealing with the shoulda, woulda, couldas with this kid that cannot leave my brain. You know what I mean? And I tell you, man, it's like like I said, man, like I know what happened to this kid. I saw what happened to this kid. I know what, I know, I know he was looking right at me. I know it. And I guess that it was kind of like manifesting into this problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was manifesting into a problem because my shoulda, woulda, couldas started to become negative. It started to become like hatred for my decisions, for what I didn't do, what I could have done, what I should have done. Like I was supposed to do something. That's what was supposed to happen, and I didn't. And I think from that point, I didn't see help. I didn't think it was a problem. Instead, what I did is I focused on doing everything I could to make sure that it didn't seem like I had a problem. That was my new focus. And it was just going into radical, unprecedented, just hobbies and habits and anything I could get my hands on that was basically just a distraction. I was jumping nonstop. That's one of the things I latched onto. Airborne operations. I was just jumping. I couldn't stop jumping. I just loved it. I loved that moment. Like I was just latching on to that moment. And you can ask anybody, man. During that time, like 22, 23, I was just doing everything I could. And I had my back issues. I was having all my issues still, and I just kept doing it because I just wanted to feel it. I just wanted to feel it.
Well, because it takes your mind off of what you're thinking all the time.
Yeah.
And that's one of the issues that we've come to a conclusion about is when you start to engage in those activities, and honestly, like let's think about it. Airborne operations is a high risk activity. And it gave you that moment in time that your brain was so focused on something else that you stopped thinking about what was going on. And putting on a facade and coming to work and trying to be the person that you always have been is exhausting. So when you do get home and when you do get away from it, you're just a shell of a person. There's nothing left, man.
Yeah. It's it basically ate me from the inside.
Yeah.
And nobody knew. And I just put my focus on making sure I put on my makeup every day. That's kind of what I was talking, like my face.
Yeah.
And just finding anything I could to make me distracted and just to provide me some sort of, I guess, positivity. And
that's when I saw you.
Yeah.
Was just right in the den of 22.
Yeah. And I had I went from 0 to 93 tattoos in 13 months.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
I went from 37 to 67 jumps in, shit. It was like that.
Good grief.
I I was I was doing everything I could. And then at the same time this was happening, uh my daughter was going through a terrible mental health issue,
Mm-hmm.
and she was going through anxiety, like a eating disorder. And I talked to her before this, and I asked her what she would like me to say, and she's very, she's closed and sensitive about it, so I won't go into the real nitty gritty, just out of respect for my daughter. My daughter's my best friends, man. But she had almost lost her life um twice. Twice big time. She had almost lost her life. And for some reason, between that and this, what I was dealing with Ryan, um it it just it had killed me. It had killed me. I was That was pretty much my the end of like what I could bear. Um and then kind of like this idea of me not being able to help him, and me not I kind of associated it to me being a failure as a father. I associated it to being a failure as a husband. I associated it to being a failure as a leader. Like, I couldn't make a decision, and I just kind of lived with it. And I just throttled myself to the max, 100%. I destroyed myself. I destroyed my body in a gym. I destroyed my body in any way I could to just avoid. I was just incredibly avoidant between, just trying to help my kid. She had almost died at this point, almost twice. I was still dealing with the issue with Ryan. Um, I've always had, a one-sided marriage. I had a one-sided marriage for years, and she wasn't always very supportive ever. And my patience for that was gone, and so that crumbled. And I remember at one point I tried to open up about it with her, and about kind of my ideas of my life and whether I deserved to live or not. And it was just brushed off, and everywhere I turned, I just wasn't heard. You know what I mean? And I guess it's almost like I was trying to keep my private issue and my professional life, church and state,
Mm-hmm.
like I didn't want to run the risk of not being that perfect paratrooper. You know what I mean? Because that's what I was trying to emulate. That's the idea that, people had of me. And I'm not sitting here trying to sound like I'm some superhero, but like I loved my job and I worked really hard, and people saw that, and I didn't want to risk that, because at that point that's all I had. So I went and saw. At this point, I had met Amber Oliver, my behavioral health, and I went and found her on my own. I kept it very private, because at this point, like, everything was in shambles. I had driven myself to a point in the army in my career where, I had found myself in trouble, and nobody was listening. Nobody cared. No, like, bringing up my, conveying the message to my daughter, conveying the message of like, hey, look, I'm having a serious issue,
Mhm.
and it's caused me to be extremely self-destructive. And I think I need help. And they didn't want to hear it. Nobody wanted to hear it. Not anyone that mattered at the time. Um, as far as my unit goes. And so that was at that point, that's when I said, hey, like I'm gonna, it's time for me to go. And then around that time I decided it was time for me to go. Um, because the only thing my division cared about was, promotion and punishment. That's it. Promotion and punishment. That was their focus. And if it fell in the lines of those two things, then you were done. Period. So they didn't care. So I Amber was pretty much all I had. Amber Oliver, because I wasn't prepared to talk to anybody about this. You know, I mean, you guys know how it is. We're all the same person. We're all the same robot.
Mhm.
All of us. We're all the same robot, and we're all built the same way. And we see these lights. We see the lights and the flashing billboards of, oh man, just talk to someone. You can go to mental health. You can do this. But we all know. We know. We
Yeah.
know what happens. You know what I mean?
Big fat
If you
labels.
want to have a future,
Yeah.
they could say it all day, but you know what I mean? Like,
You don't want to be the crazy guy.
yeah, man. And especially these guys in charge now, these leadership, dude, it's not people and purpose anymore. No, man. It's promotion and policy.
Mm-hmm.
That is their focus. And it's like, I mean, we've seen the shift. We've all been in the Army over 15 years. Like, we've seen the shift in the Army.
Mhm.
It's all about me. You know what I mean? It's all about me, and that's just the way it is. And so I said, okay. I was like, you know what? I tried to talk to these guys. It didn't work. And Amber was all I had, so I continued to see Amber. And this time I've been talking to her a long time, and about my problem. And she's my therapist, my behavioral health therapist, is probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm probably still here. To be honest,
She's one of the good ones.
yeah,
That's pretty awesome, man.
her and my kids. To be honest,
The babies, yeah.
yeah, this and it took a long time for me even to even be able to talk about the situation, what happened that day, and how I felt, about this kid, man. And just, I don't know, man. I had to change the way I thought. And it's crazy, man, when you have a situation where you question yourself and you doubt yourself, and then that doubt turns into blame, and you blame yourself for something. It's crazy how quickly, even for me, is you're just starting to look for solutions. You know what I mean? And anything is on the table.
A lot of times the worst possible thing you could do in your mind at the time seems like the best solution.
Yeah. And so I started talking about with Amber, I started talking about changing my mindset. And I've been doing this over the years. This was the end of 23. My unit was at this point it was just basically just ignored, severed, it was ignored, severed, closed doors, roadblocks. Didn't matter. Nothing I said mattered.
Mm-hmm.
It was just everything in this. It was just problem. just a problem, and and then 24 happened, and I felt like I was starting to come to terms and thinking the way I thought. And then I had like I had to have like 4 surgeries on my intestines, my stomach, and my throat. And I had a huge intestinal issue with the throat. My esophagus was tore to pieces, and I had a bunch of issues again.
Related to stress?
Yeah, it was stress. It was all related to stress. It was related to stress. It was related to the airborne ops, the deployments, the everything, all that stuff. And again, it was just my kids. And then by this time, I was fighting for my children. You know, my divorce was horrible. My unit at this point was completely against me in all facets. I had 2 people, and thank God for them, was my company commanders, and it was Tyler Chris and Luke McCulkin. Great, wonderful guys. They're all I had. They're all I had through this whole process. From you know what everything leading up, to 23, going through all my surgeries and just taking care of me, and my medical situation, and I was just falling apart, man. I was falling apart physically, I was falling apart mentally. And I sit there and I often wonder, if I would have just said something to the right person, if I'd have brought it up to one of the guys that I respected and I loved, and I knew they were just gonna be there for me when I was still in that, when I was still with the Devils, and I was still in 21, and I was still surrounded by my family, Colonel Kleisner and everybody, like those guys. I mean, that was my family, and I just held on to it. I ignored it. I didn't say anything about it, and it just ate me up.
Mm-hmm.
Just that moment of just not just taking one situation that just kind of speared right through my soul, and just thinking about it, because this thing kind of haunted me, man. Like I just kept thinking about that whole situation when I slept, when I ate, when I was awake. And then I just kind of became those 2 people, and then like my mind wasn't right, and I just self-destructed, man. I was just making radical decisions, man. I was making anything I could do just to take my mind off the situation. Anything I could do to take my mind off that day, that moment where I could not save that kid, where I didn't save that kid. And I just did it. I just took it. I had no support from the one at home. Of course, my daughter's always been there for me, but one of my daughters, like I said, was in terrible stress. It was affecting my other kid. I was in a moment where everywhere I looked, I was a failure. Everywhere I looked, I was a failure, and I just kept it to myself. I did. I kept myself to where it almost took me, you know. And luckily, I made it out, you know. And
There's a lot of people that don't, man.
There's a lot of people that don't, man. And I think, and to be honest, man, that's why I had to do this, because, like, what you guys are doing is great, man. And I'm not comparing and contrasting, but there's a lot of people dealing with a lot more, and I'm not trying to highlight my situation, but man, I guess my thing is, man, just talk to someone, man.
We always say, and Chad's kind of hammered this thing home so much, man. And like I told it, but it's, we all do it. We all try to like bottle this shit up, but at the end of the day, somebody's living your fucking story, man.
Yeah.
Like somebody's living in hell.
Yeah.
Right here next to us. And the a lot of times, man, like people hide that shit so well that you would never realize it. Unless you follow them around for 24 hours a day, man, you're not gonna realize it.
Yeah.
And the problem was when you got to that position where you were like, okay, I need to talk about this. Like you said, the people that you were there with, the people that knew what you went through, the people that seen what you went through were now gone. So no, they didn't understand. Those other people don't understand your situation.
Yeah. And you can't stop. That's the problem, man. You know, you still got a job to do.
Yeah.
You still got to do it. And for me, man, I was a leader at work. I was a member at work. I was a hard worker at work. I came home. I was a involved father. I always took care of my kids. I took care of everything. I did it all, man. I did it all. There wasn't a rest for me. There wasn't a minute for me.
Yeah.
And I just kept going and I kept going and I kept going and I wouldn't let myself take a break. I wouldn't let myself take a breather because I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't accept it. I didn't accept that there was something wrong with me until that wheel just spun out of control. And then when it was time for me to say something, it was time for me to get help, right? I had already hit a wall.
Yeah.
And I had already hit the self-destruction button on me and my career. And at that point, nobody from me up cared at all. They did not care at all. They didn't care. I mean, hell, like even the process of even going through my process of trying to get my resignation evals done and stuff. I mean, I was basically forced into this mental eval
Yeah.
just so they can check the block on, yeah, he's good, he can get out. At the same time, I had a med board in for PTSD that they didn't even know about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just treated me terribly, even up to this day. Horrible. It was horrible. Nobody cares.
And that's what, and that's, and I think I say this probably every time, right? And like, that's where like the name derives from, right? Is somebody out there's living what you're going through.
Yeah.
And it's probably from that cohort of people. I mean, think about how many people are on that airfield out of all the units over there. Somebody is feeling that way. And the name derives from, right? What are you going to do beyond it, beyond that time to be able to give back? And like what you're doing to be able to tell people that is the important thing. Because even if you just get to one of those dudes and they listen to that and they're like, okay, like whether it's in the car, right? And maybe hopefully they're in a position where there's not bad people around. You know what I mean? And they're just going to say like,
Or somebody that's listening.
yeah, I got to take care of me right now, right?
Yeah.
And there are those good people out there, right? Like you've described before, like there are those good people that are like, okay, man, we're going to get you exactly what you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the machine doesn't stop.
No.
You know?
And I think through this last year, going into this moment, 2025, I've gotten a lot of therapy. Amber Oliver, she'll be, I keep saying her name, but I'm telling you,
I feel like I know her now.
she saved my life, man. Right there on Bragg, man. And if I didn't have her, I mean, she helped me through everything.
There's people like that.
She helped me through she helped me through the 82nd completely turning their backs on me. She helped me through my problem fighting to get my kids who wanted to be with their dad. She helped me with this horrific divorce. She helped me through the transition to make peace with myself for this kid that's been living with me for years. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough dealing with the idea that you didn't save someone or help someone that didn't deserve any of that day. And then I come home and then my daughter's damaged. It was just attacking me from all sides. A father, a leader, a man, and it got me so low, man. And and just this last year, I mean, Chad, I tell you, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate. If you didn't, just that day you reached out to me, man.
So that's what I wanted to go back to too. And I had told these guys, well, like we had the previous conversation about Denny, and Denny told me,
Yeah.
hey man, the team room's bigger on the outside.
Yeah.
And you think about that, and I go back to when I saw you, right? And I asked you, hey man, how are you? I'm good, man, I'm good. And I went, how are you?
Yeah.
And it's like you were caught back. And that just goes to show, right? Like your support group, your tribe it's big. It's just being vulnerable enough to say it.
That's it.
And then that started it.
Yeah.
Hey man, how are you actually doing? Oh, I'm good. Hey man, what about this? Like this is what we're trying to do. Okay. And right, and just not that I was on top of you, right? But I just stayed checking in consistently.
Yeah.
Hey man, you thinking about this? You thinking about this? What do you need? Is there anything we can do to help you? You know? And then finally, it's like you called me that day. Actually, I pulled in to go get some coffee, and you were like, "Hey, man, I'm good. Like I'm ready." And I was like, "Oh, okay. About what?" Right? And then we just started talking about it.
And I think what helped me, man. And I took the long, hard, painful route to recover from this. I took the route that I just basically put myself through because, man, the one thing that I realized up this year is that, man, like it's like the only thing I was focusing on was the people, right? My leadership, commanders, everyone that had just literally turned me into this villain and treated me terribly and ignored me and are still doing it. I focused on all their hate and disregard and their ego to just crush me, right? That it almost was another layer of like, I don't deserve anything. You know what I mean? And then I sit there and I think to myself, like, it's like you think that you're like alone. When I went through my surgeries, man, you know who came to my surgery? Amber Oliver.
Wow.
Amber Oliver came to my surgeries. Everyone was tracking it. My leadership were tracking it. Nah, man. To them, it was just one big scheme. Oh, what is he doing now? You know what I mean? Hell, the battalion commander that, I was under, he made jokes about the fact that I could not swallow whole food. Making jokes that I had to do a swallow test because I just got basically a new throat liner and I couldn't eat solid food. Made a joke about it, like it was like funny. You know what I mean? I got one phone call on my third surgery, and it was Luke McCulkin, my company commander at the time, to make sure I was okay. Like, hey man, just want to make sure you're okay. You know? And then I was, and then Amber helped me, and she kind of realized, like, hey, like she helped she helped me with my whole train of thought, man. And it's like, and then I started to think about the people who actually cared, my people, the people who actually connect, not the ones that like love you for what you do for their presence, love you for what you do for their promotion and their light and like what they benefit from you. It's like real people that just that are invested in me. And I lost sight of them because I was just focused on what was being said and projected about me when I just kind of got myself into this point of self-destruction. And slowly, I started to think that, hey, although this dream idea of the army that I dreamed about being in since I was 14 has completely turned on me and has just become my biggest villain through any means possible. I can sit here and just think to myself, like, hey, you know what, man? Like, I'm still a person. And whether they want me to be perfect or not, they're a robot. I nobody's perfect, man. And I forgot that. I forgot that. Right. I did. And then I had to get that back. And then when I started getting my confidence back that my life does not end because this job has tried to ruin it over the last 24 months of my life, I still have a life to live. And I finally started getting my horsepower back. And I started listening to Amber, and I started changing the way I thought about myself, that all derived from this singular 5-minute moment where I blamed myself. I blamed myself for the situation this child was in, that was looking just at me to save him. And I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And I tell you, man, I could have saved myself a lot a lot of just horror, and I could have saved myself from just a lot of just hurt and pain, you know, if I would have just done what you guys talk about every day, man. And it's just crazy. It's crazy how long it took me to just kind of like, how I explained it to my dad is like, just kind of just take a minute and just step back, and just realize what's happening, because you just get so wrapped up in the game, man. And you just let it go. You get wrapped up in the stipulations, and you get wrapped up in just that endless cycle, you know. And I was focusing on the wrong thing, and the whole time I could have just, I could have just said something and talked to the people who really cared about me in the moment when something bad really happened to me, and not left to the wolves of, of the army's new leadership. You know what I mean? And I didn't do it. And I tell you, man, I think if I have a message to anyone, it's talk to the people that are actually invested in you, not the people who say nice things to you and then but wish nothing good, or they wish no fortune on you, because all those people are with they're all around you. And find those people and latch onto them, man, because I can tell you in the very end, those are the only people you got. Because I, if you wait too long, the institution is not going to help you. They won't. They won't. Those are all people focused on two things, and that's promotion and policy. It's not people. It's not purpose. And I just tell people that all the time. The institution's not there. They're not there to help you. They won't help you. You mean nothing to them. You need to talk to the people who matter the most, and those are the people who actually care about you. The people who are with you, beside you, invest in you. I severed the wrong end, man. I think I wasn't prepared, and I didn't realize, and I didn't pay attention to what was happening to me. What that blame and that hurt and that anger was doing to me, and it was eating me from the inside. And although I took the rockiest, most painful path possible, I made it out, and I'm in a better place now, and I have both of my girls full time. They're my best friend. They're the loves of my life. I love my kids. I'm I'm away. I am away from everyone that has caused me absolute pain and did not allow me to heal and stop me from healing. Um, I'm getting away from all those people that crushed me or were just sole proprietors in the process of just t- turning their backs on me and just turning me into just someone who just doesn't matter. And it's insulting. It's almost heartbreaking how quick that the second you break from perfection, the second you need a moment, the second you make a mistake or a wrong turn, it's insane that an organization like the Army, speaking from my position, from my division, how quickly everyone that can make a decision about your life immediately focuses on themselves and what they're going to do to you and how they're going to make you the example of, and how quickly nothing you've done matters to them. Nothing. And I tell people all the time, man, trust your people, not the institution. And I mean it. I absolutely mean it. It was life changing for me.
So what do you plan on doing now? Now that you're retired and
Well,
you're retired.
well,
You're retired.
no, I will be exiting. Yeah, I'm exiting the Army, but the uh to be honest, I've kind of written a lot of things down, and I talk to my dad all the time, and he's my best friend. I talk to my mentors. Chris Holland, he's been with me. I told you guys before, he's been with me for over 10 years. I love him. My best friend Tom DeMarco. I've got a lot of support, man, and I've got my kids, and I am the best father that they've ever had. But I told my dad, I said, after this, I don't think I ever want to speak about the Army again. I don't.
What's crazy is it's like a double-edged sword, right? It's given you so much, right? But it's also taken so much.
That's what my dad said. My dad told me, and my friends have told me, like, hey man, talk about, if you are going to speak about it, talk about the times when it was the greatest part of your life. And it would be in 1st Brigade, the Devils, when I was there, and I was under Colonel Kleisner and Karcher and Benjamin Shepard, and
that's the important thing, right? To remember those, because those people and like the impact they left are never going to change.
Colonel Sazalov.
Yeah,
he was just remarkable officers. And then it was gone. And my problems became problems at the wrong time. It became problems when there was people it became problems that the people that I needed to help me were wolves in sheep's clothing. And I guess, if we were to end on something, I guess my biggest point and what I tell people now is, you have to let yourself be vulnerable. And if you can't be vulnerable, or you feel like you can't feel safe being vulnerable around the people that you surround yourself with, then those aren't your people.
I say that all the time.
Those aren't your people. And I think for me, I think my thing was, I wanted to help and influence and inspire so many people, and I wanted to just reach out and just engage and like connect to so many people as much as I can, that I forgot like who my real friends were. And if there's one thing I remember is that all those, that huge network that I had established, that position I had established where I felt like I was the best I ever was. I did not have that safety net of communication. I didn't have that line of just safety, feeling safe, communicating of what was really happening to me. And then everything just came crashing down. So I guess that's my biggest point is just talk, man. Just talk to somebody. And I get it, man. I know it's tough, and like, especially in our line of work. When I'm talking about anybody, man, just because I'm in the Army doesn't make me, special to be heard, or oh, his problems are special problems. No, man, it's just problems. And if you got it, you have to navigate through that with help, man, because you have your own bias. You cannot communicate. You can't. It's not something you should just hold yourself, because your own bias is just going to create roadblocks for you. And I guess this is my biggest point. And I appreciate you guys so much for having me. And I guess my thing is, for me, even coming over here, this was just me hanging out with friends. You know what I mean? Like old friends, But, maybe if I help somebody, great. If I don't, I don't. I know the second that this thing airs. I mean, here's my thing, man. I talk about the institution and the support and this facade of support that's behind this immediate, like, you're great, then you're not. It's you just wait, man. You wait till this post, and I'm telling you, I'll lose thousands of followers just of fears being connected to this conversation, because it's just so bad. But
Well,
Yeah.
you always have a spot here.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
Let you go.
What's that?
So it's kind of something that's private. This I'm not gonna pull it out, but it's probably illegal for me to have actually. It's not a weapon or anything, but it is something that's held sacred in many people's religions, and that's why it stays in this room, the war ring. Right. This is all the memories that Lacey and I have through our military times, and we keep them in this room because, like you said, that is our other lives. That is our different lives that not many people understand. You guys understand it. But this went to Vietnam.
Hell yeah.
And then it went to Afghanistan. And the man that carried this, he made it back physically, but his mind didn't. His mother gave me this after he killed himself.
Mm.
So this is something that, like, we hold pretty dear. I'm fucking glad that you're still with us.
Yeah.
And that everybody here, all of us have lost somebody and been in those situations, man. And you get to that point in your life, I've been there, that you feel like there's no fucking way out of it.
Oh yeah.
But there's people, man. There's people pulling for you. There's people that actually fucking care about you. And that's one of the things that I can say about us, guys in the Army. Chad and I stayed in contact. And like, this is gonna help me out. And you coming on and explaining things is incredibly strong to us. That to us is one of the most positive things you can do in your healing process, is being able to speak about your demons. Because it eats us, man. Like you said, it eats us alive when we can't say anything about it. The true measure of a man is to stop when you have gotten to a point where you feel like you can't go anymore and fucking say something. not just let it eat you.
Yeah.
So that's,
You can talk to chat. I'm telling you, this took me 6 months.
dude, I know, man.
This took me 6 months. I canceled the first schedule.
I know.
I-
We've
this
been
took-
talking-
This took me 6 months to do, and we had to wrap this up in a couple hours, man. I can't even. There's just so much more.
Yeah.
It's the tip of the iceberg, man. Like I have, this is like my 2-hour summary, and it's like, so you sit there and you think about it, man. Like even the story with Ryan, man. It's like, dude, that is that's a morsel of that and how that entire thing played out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you sit there, man, and you think to yourself, there's just so much to say.
There's.
And if you don't just openly communicate, it's just so much that you just keep inside of you, man. And it's like, I'm telling you, man, it takes a long time to get all this out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't start, my healing process took 2 years, man.
You're still in it.
2 years. I'm still in it.
But you said it on it earlier too. Is whenever this goes out and you share it, it'll cost you followers. Those people aren't going.
Those people aren't my people.
And it's funny is we talk about this
Yeah.
too. Is I guess we'll close it out with one of the last things. Is I used to care about that. I used to care about the ebbs and flows on all platforms. And I was like, why are we losing so many people? And I just went. Somebody called me and was like, hey man, those aren't the people. Those aren't the people. Those are the people that sit down in their basement and are like, I want that, but I don't want to work for it. So now that you're telling me I got to work for it,
Yeah.
or you're telling your story, even though I feel like that, I don't want to hear it because now you're going to make me feel weird that I'm not going to go get help. Like, okay, then don't do it, man. But I'm just telling you, like, this is a place that you're going to be able to do it. And I know you know this, but if you were to ever call, we're there.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm there anytime.
And
And even if you want to go to the Southern Pines and drink IPAs and stuff.
Yeah. But here's the thing, man. I would say there's another leg of it.
Yeah.
There's a whole nother group of people that are scared to support you for it.
Yeah.
So you just said, right? Like, it's like, oh man, there's people that support me, there's people that don't, but like, think about it. Like, you're putting on a platform, right? You are creating a platform where people are basically telling you, the shortfalls of either themselves or their organization. And just even the idea of it, just the perception of it, you're losing those people because they're scared of the institution.
Regardless of what it is.
Because these people, and I keep pointing up there,
We
but
know what
you know what I mean.
we know what you mean.
But those people, like up there, again, man, it's promotion and policy. It's not the same game. You know what I mean? It's not the same game. And I am a sole example of it. I'm a sole example of it. I went from something to nothing.
You're the most amazing thing in the world as long as you're doing exactly what they want you to do, when
That's right,
you do
man.
it, and then
That's right,
at the
man.
end of the day, man.
And at the time, from the time that you are not a perfect robot, done. Call it.
Yeah.
Call it. Doesn't matter who you are. My face is in a shopette. Doesn't matter. Didn't matter. Didn't care. I had to find my help. All on my own. Every single step I tried to make to help myself or improve my life or put me in a better situation, they either stopped it, roadblocked it, or hated me for it. It's been, I'm telling you, this has been the hardest 2 years of my life. Almost going on 3. And it's crazy because through this process I've really kind of figured out who I am.
Which I think
It's wild how that works,
Which I
right?
think is probably the most important thing.
It's the most important thing, man.
Because who knows if you just would have kept going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, man. There's my rising sun, okay? Like my rising sun and my setting moon are my children. Everything I do is for my kids. I live just holistically for my children. And man, I tell you, if I could do it all again, I would have put them first more, and I would have really, really focused on who really mattered to me. So I knew that the second I did have a real issue, I had someone immediately to talk to. And then not focus so much on just the idea of this perception that I had to maintain, and put so much invested thought into just their, the idea the institution had on me. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't perfect. You know what I mean? I made a mistake. I self-destructed. I did something. You know what I mean? Or something of the sort, It's like, oh man, he's a problem. It's just that quick, man. It's just that quick. And yeah, man, but thank God I made it out, man. Because I know a lot of people won't. So just continue doing what you're doing, man. Thanks for having me. All right. Wait, I get a coin, right?
We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, I got a shirt, no coin?
You got shirts.
Oh, I'll take another shirt.